So again, my name is just a little bit more about myself. My name is J.R. Gould. I am a professional speaker that specializes in mental health, higher education, and diversity and inclusion. My life's mission is to normalize mental health conversations and prevent suicide. And as a person of color, diversity and inclusion, racial justice are my life and my passion. So I was born in Taiwan. I grew up in California. I moved to the States when I was very young. So pretty much I grew up in San Francisco, in Los Angeles. After that, I went to CU Boulder. And after that, I moved to Hawaii. I did live in Hawaii and worked there for a couple of years. It was good, pretty good time. So, and afterwards, recession hit. I came back to Colorado and got my master's at Regis for nonprofit management. And from there, I worked for NAPIMA, which is a local nonprofit organization, and we do national work. And our mission is to advocate mental health wellness for Asian Americans, Pacific Islanders, and Native Hawaiians. And a couple of years ago, I started my own just kind of consulting company called Coffee with JR that focus on providing more cultural competence and training in diversity inclusion and mental health. And I also provide business and life coaching that helps individuals and business owners to thrive in their life and businesses. And over working with NAPIMA, I'm very fortunate. In the last 10 years, of professional speaking, I'm very fortunate to have worked and spoke at like over 45 different universities across the country in dozens of corporations, small businesses, and nonprofits. So I also have taught classes at CU Boulder, and I work very closely with FACE department. I forgot what's her department. The ethnic studies and continuing education department to provide diversity and inclusion training for local businesses here in Denver. So I feel like I'm talking like, so again, I feel such a pleasure to work with you all, to talk with you all. And because I feel like we are in this together. And I'm just very excited for today and be on this journey with you all. And hopefully today is the first many exciting topics that we will be exploring and working around in mental health. And just a couple of housekeeping items. I want to thank you all for signing this up. And I know this is a volunteer training, not mandatory. So to respect your time and get most out of this workshop is going to be very interactive with different small discussions and breakout groups. So please be prepared to talk and share. And I'll be pushing you a little bit and challenge your thoughts. So it's not a workshop that you can just lean back and observe. And so I highly encourage you all, or recommend that you keep your camera on, or turn on your camera with your screen, because in this way that we can interact, keep the energy momentum up. Also, the questions that I'll be posting and asking are going to be reflective. At times, it may push you to open up and be a bit vulnerable. If you feel discomfort or triggered and need some space, you are welcome to step out. We'll turn everything off. So just please make sure to let Soumya know that you're okay. And this is a reminder that this is not a clinical mental health workshop. It's not a therapy session. This is a general mental health and personal development webinar to help us to learn how to continue to improve ourselves and our mental health. And if you know someone that is experiencing mental health crisis, please call 911. Please call 911. We'll call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. And if you are if you see me looking to my side, because I'm looking at my notes, I'm looking at you from different perspective. And let's see what else. Phrases, language. When I use the word like Asian Americans, AAPI, APITA, for this workshop, they are the same. And last is, you probably see my my puppy's picture. If you have any pets like dogs or cats, you're encouraged to show them off on their screen because I love animals. So if they jump on you, that's even perfect. That's even better. So I'm just kidding. So all right then, let's yeah. So what? So any questions so far? Are we good? We good? And again, I can only see probably half of you. So if you have any questions, feel free to just unmute yourself and just ask. So, all right. So, what an unexpected world that we are living in right now. It is a little bit unbelievable. A lot to handle, to deal with. So, I hope you are safe and healthy. The reality is that majority of people are struggling. It can be financial, it can be fear of uncertainty, a sense of losing control, loss of opportunities, loss of hope, isolation, getting traumatized, getting re-traumatized, struggling with depression, anxiety, online classes. All of you are taking classes online, like I it must be stressful, and on top of that, just the fear behind this whole anti-Asian racism thing going on. At the same time, I think that everyone is trying their best to readjust and figure out the next step, how to move forward. So I want to make this webinar a positive conversation that we are in this together. We are in this together. I really want everyone to come out today's workshop with the idea that there are things that we can do to improve our mental health and overall well-being. All hope is not lost. In fact, this crisis, this whole thing, can be an amazing opportunity for us to continue to grow and transform. And most of you are still in college. The 5 essential tools that I'll be sharing with you all are the general principles and concept that you can use, adapt, and mold into your own lifestyle to improve your mental health while still in college, study from home. And hopefully, in the long term wise, can be part of your life as you continue to grow and as you continue enter the professional world. And the power behind these 5 essential tools ultimately is to assist you to regain back, take back control of your life. And I've been personally been using these 5 tools way before the crisis. And I noticed that when I continue applying these 5 tools, even during this crisis, even though I'm struggling, just like you all, like myself, like a lot of people, I'm able to keep up my mental health and continue moving forward and build my life. So
Hey,
here,
JR,
yes,
just a quick question. If you go to the previous slide, could you touch on a little bit more regarding the differences between awareness and mindfulness? I always thought mindfulness was being aware of your surroundings, of the ambience around
yeah,
you.
good question. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that question. So awareness is what I call it's a little bit more external. Mindfulness is more internal. Does it make sense? So you're aware. Yeah, in a way, they can be similar, but the way that I distinguish them is that you're aware the external circumstances. It can be the weather changing, it can be the traffic, all that. And having that, once you're aware, you can build in that a little bit mindful that, okay, traffic sucks, I'm tired, I'm stressed out. How can I not let this traffic hinder me? How can I, being aware that traffic is always going to suck, but being mindful of what's going on, that I am not going to allow this bad traffic to continue to influence me. Does that make sense? So that's how I
Yes,
define it.
yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So these are, so somehow, oops. So these are the 5 tools. So just take a couple seconds to read them through, and pretty much the first is acknowledge and identify your discomfort. And Rohan, and pretty much your question is these 5 tools, we will explore that process that I just explained to you. The second step is understand what's causing your discomforts. And once you understand, how can you process your feelings and thoughts? And once you start processing them, okay, let's transform them into something positive, into hope. And last is what I straight up self care. How can you find compassion and patience and love within us? So, all right, any questions? Awesome. Then let's dive in then. So, first, identify, acknowledge your discomforts. Acknowledge and accept the situation that we are all in right now. And probably due to part of our cultural programming, like saving face, we are, when I say we, Asians, Asian American, we are pretty good, actually very good at brushing our emotions and mental health aside, telling ourselves that it's not a big deal. And this has to do with that we live and grow up in a more communal mentality, that my individual feelings are less important than the well-being of my family, my community. So when we try to focus on ourselves, we feel guilty. The reality is that the more we are in denial and try to brush these discomforts away, the more pain and stress we will experience. I agree. During this age of uncertainty and crisis, that we need to care for each other. We need to care others. However, please remember that don't forget to take care of yourself first. Because if you can't take care of yourself, how can you assist your family and friends? And so what we need to do is identify exactly what's bothering us, what's bothering you. Be more detailed and be honest and authentic with yourself. So if you have pen and paper right now, or if you are sitting in front of a computer, open your Microsoft Word. I highly recommend take a minute or two, write down or type down the things that are bothering you, because we are going to break into breakout group in a pair of 2 or 3. And I will ask you all to share with each other. So, and the reason I ask you to type it down or write it down right now is because if you're freaking out inside, like a lot of time, like we Asian, we have to keep this perfect face, but in fact, inside we are freaking out, and we are afraid to show it and don't know what to do. Writing it down is a good way to express it. And here are just a couple examples, of me, like example of what I feel, like this whole discomfort, loss of control, struggling with my regular depression and my COVID depression. And now the season's changing. Now I have my seasonal depression. There's the uncertainty of future, loss of experiences, like many of you, instead of be able to go to the campus, have fun with the student clubs, you're kind of stuck at home, isolation, fear of losing your job, or fear of that you not be able to have the internship that you want, you know, fear of your safety because of the targeting of Asians and Asian Americans. So now Sonia is going to break you all into two, group of two. And I want you all to just share with each other what is bothering you. You have 4 minutes. And how do you say, again, self-care. I encourage you all to be a little bit vulnerable, to be authentic. At the same time, take care of yourself, share at your own level. And all you have to do is just identify what's kind of bothering you. Just kind of list of that. So if you are ready, can you please put them? The first step that I keep emphasizing to improve our mental health is that we need to just identify and just recognize what's going on? What's bothering us? What's going on? And after that, after we have identified our discomfort, the next step is, let's go a little bit deeper to understand what is causing these discomforts. These discomforts. Again, I recommend you write them down. The underlying emotions that are causing your stress. I mean, you can write down in your journal, on the notebook, or type it out. And most of the time, the underneath all these emotions, they are fear, guilt, regrets, and this fear of uncertainty. Fear, uncertainty, guilt, regrets are the building blocks of depression and anxiety. So a lot of time, what you are feeling in your body, our body, is we feel unsafe, we feel worried, overwhelmed, losing control, insecurity. Yeah, like there's a lot of noises, voices going on in your living space. You feel a little bit trapped. And these deep, these emotions make us feel like we're losing control in our life. At the same time, making us feel guilty for feeling this way. And the next question is, how does it manifest in our mind when we are bombarded with all this emotion? And oftentimes, what's going on in our mind is they come up in our thoughts in a very negative way. It's like, why is this happening to me? I'm going to lose everything. I will never make it. I don't deserve this. My life is over. My life sucks. I'm not smart. I'm stupid. I hate everyone. Does it make sense? So oftentimes we have all these emotions and we don't know how to process them. So they just manifest in our head with all this negativity. Does this sound familiar to you all? A lot of you start knocking. Yeah. So yeah. And we are what we are feeling. We are what we are feeling. Ultimately, again, manifest in our thoughts, in our head. And they continue to start looping, just stuck there, stuck there. So now I want you to share with each other, what are you feeling in your body? So earlier, we are kind of identify what's bothering you. Now, I want you to kind of verbally share with each other, what are you feeling? Just identify the emotions. I'm feeling annoyed, I'm feeling upset. And also, what does it look like in your head? What are you telling yourself? Try your best to verbalize those negativity. I'm just going to continue. And the reason that why I'm talking about this, why these first two steps are so important, that understanding, acknowledging what we are feeling, what we are thinking, is because first is that we bombard ourselves with negative thoughts constantly. So studies have shown that we have about 60,000 thoughts per day. And 90% of the thoughts are the same exact thoughts we had the day before. And out of that, 80% are negative and fear-based. And second, is that when you can acknowledge and identify and understand your discomfort and know where all these deep emotions and negative thoughts are coming from, you are starting to regain control of your thoughts, your body, your feelings, your fear, and overall your life. So using Brene Brown. So I hope you all know Brene Brown. She's one of my idols. I think she's one of the most amazing people. Is that, and this analogy probably more had to do with a lot of more Asian men, or men overall, is that we don't like to open up or talk about it. Well, overall our culture, we are afraid, because we are afraid that if we talk about it, if we acknowledge it, we are going to open the Pandora box. And we believe that we are living outside of the Pandora box. However, the reality is that the Pandora box, the reality is that we are already living in the Pandora box. We are part of the Pandora box. So what you're experiencing, going through, is real, is there. And the more you continue to deny the challenge, the emotional distress, or you can face them. And if you continue to brush them aside, the more stressed, the more depressed you will be. If you are willing to face them, you're on your way to take back control of your life. So that's why these two steps are really important. So any questions so far before we move on to the third tool? Okay, so the third tool, so that is, this picture is the analogy of Pandora box. The third tool is, let's process this. Let's process all these feelings and thoughts. Again, all you're experiencing and feeling, they are real. They are as real as the bag of potato chips or the cherry pie that's in front of me right now. Yeah, I do have a cherry pie. But the negative thoughts that we have do not need to be real. Again, I'm going to repeat that. What you are going through in your body is real. What is manifesting in your mind, what you are telling yourself, it doesn't have to be real. Because oftentimes they are just projection of our fear, our instinct that want to fight or fly. So now we have recognized what those thoughts, negative thoughts, what these feelings are. Let's process it. Let's process it. And here are my recommended methods on how to process these feelings and thoughts. First is allow yourself to really feel, to mourn, to get in touch with whatever emotions that you have. Some of you might feel jaded and annoyed with taking all your classes online, people not engaging on Zoom, their cameras are off, and you might have amazing plan for next semester or next year, but everything is up in the air. I feel you. I feel you. I feel this frustration. I still remember when the pandemic hit, literally on Friday the 13th, March 13th, I had 8 speaking gigs lined up, travel too. I love to travel. I love to speak. I have eight of these booked for the following month. And within 24 hours, all my speaking gig got canceled. I still remember that I was sitting in Wash Park, a very nice park in Denver. I was just sitting there in shock, I was heartbroken. And I was just sitting on the bench and staring to whatever. And at the same time, I told myself that it's okay. I need to allow myself to mourn and grieve, which I did. I took the next 3-4 days off to just process it, to just let my body, let my mind go through. I need to let my mind and body to heal a bit before I dive into the next task. Using physical illness as an example, when you are sick, when you have stomachache, headaches, normally we slow down, take a break, let our body heal. We need to do the same with our mind and mental health. And recognize that it is a temporary setback. And it took me over almost 2 weeks to literally recover myself from the shock, to get my energy, my motivation back online. And the next one is what I call just allow yourself to goof off a bit. Again, using the grief, my grief as an example. Part of the grieving process is allowing yourself to enjoy life again. Oftentimes when we are in shock, oftentimes when we are feeling down, when our minds bombarded with all these negative thoughts, we deny ourselves the enjoyment of life. So I'm recommending you all to go play video games, pick up a new hobby, or go back to your hobbies. Whatever your guilty pleasures are, re-engage, will do those activities. And probably due to our anxiety and urgency in our society, we feel the need to keep going, keep doing something, keep ourselves busy for the sake of being busy, because that's what we are used to, and that's what we are comfortable with. Most of you work and study in a pretty high stress, intense field, especially we Asians, we have this guilt, we have this family societal pressure that we need to achieve and succeed. And I want to remind you all that yes, we still can achieve and succeed and grow. But right now, we might just have to do a little bit differently, at least for now, to allow yourself to enjoy your life again. Goof off a bit. And the next one is write it down. Again, I've been saying this the whole time right now. I highly recommend doing this. Next is reach out, verbalize it, share it with a confidant or a friend that can validate your experience. Studies have shown that the moment we can verbalize our feelings, our thoughts, the stress level decreases tremendously. And using a little bit more extreme, one more example, people with suicidal ideation, the moment they start talking, studies have shown that for them to go through with suicide decreases by 94%. So this is the power of verbalizing. And especially it can be very powerful if you're experiencing anxiety, worry about your safety because this whole anti-Asian, feeling stressed out academically, and we're just feeling unease overall in general, just overall in your life. So now I'm going to put you all into breakout groups again. And please share with each other on what can you do to process your feelings, your grief, your frustration. You can either use my examples, or maybe you already have some in your pockets, but kind of share with each other. When you're in the funk, when your brain's bombarded with all these negative thoughts, what can you do? How can you process it? Now, once we identify, we feel them, we're able to process them. The next step is what I call, let's transform them. Let's change our state of mind. Yeah, ultimately what you are feeling, experiencing is a form of energy. So we can either continue down the same rabbit hole, feeling pity for ourselves and bombard our minds with all these negative thoughts, or we can transform them by redefining our values, be intentional with our thoughts and actions. And here are a couple methods that I've been using to boost my focus and motivation, to kind of like boost my energy. The first one is what I call daily, hourly appreciation and gratitude. This is one of the best, I cannot emphasize enough, the best tool to generate positivity in our life. Like Kathy, earlier you mentioned about meditation. I incorporate this into my meditation every single day, every single day. This is because we can turn regrets and fear into appreciation and positive thoughts. Channel the energy and really remember and appreciate what you have, what you had, and what you are, what you have. What's going on with my life right now. It's all the missed opportunity, you know, and I tell myself that all these are temporary inconvenient for my life, you know, and I remind myself all the amazing things in my life. Not only remind myself, I appreciate them. For example, I live within 10 minutes walking distance to three grocery stores. I have my health, my apartment. I'm safe in my apartment. I appreciate this amazing opportunity working with you all. I appreciate showing your support for all these years. So I remind myself, I bombard myself with all these thankful things in my life. And these negative, don't get me wrong, the negative thoughts, they creep up on me constantly. So every hour or every couple of hours, I have to slow down. I have to literally slow myself down and just practice this simple gratitude. The next one is you are what you focus on. So focus on what you can do within your control. Find new ways to keep yourself busy and occupied, both mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. For those that have additional free time, this can be a great opportunity to focus on you. Think of this as like very valuable opportunity of extra time to invest on you. And the more you focus on the negative thoughts or the bad news, the more you will become those negative thoughts. You probably heard this term, the self-fulfilling prophecy. So the more you focus on gratitude, on positive thoughts, the happier you will be. For example, on the slide, instead of telling yourself, I'm not smart enough, I can't do this, literally tell yourself that I can do this. It's hard. It's hard, but I can do this. Tell yourself this crisis will be over. Tell yourself that you're not alone. Tell yourself I'm thankful for. Tell yourself I'm in control. And last is another thing that you can tell yourself, you can focus your mind on, is what can I do to help others? What can I do to help others? Because the moment you start thinking that, you elevate yourself, you separate yourself from all the negativity in your mind. So next one is what I call change your state of mind. But for most of you, this might be the first time that you're working, we're taking classes from home extensively. Taking classes from home or working from home is a whole different animal. Especially like some of you have already shared, you have roommates, family members that are also working from home or studying from home. And we are used to the external structure and pressure to get us motivated. So now everything's at home. And oftentimes you might be sitting at a same spot for hours and hours and staring at your screen. Feel like you're stuck. No, your brain can't really function or think clearly. Especially if your brain's bombarding with, again, all these negative thoughts, and you can't let it go. You just can't shake it off. You can't shake this feeling off. So the best way to avoid stagnation is literally shake things up. When I say literally, I mean that using your physical body, using physical activity to help you to change your state of mind and your emotional stuckness. So I know this, for example, I know this is going to sound a little bit funny. This famous speaker, he has a trampoline, a small one, jumping thing in his office. Whenever he feels stuck, Whenever he feel congested, he start jumping on the triple lane, you know. And I'm talking about literally putting down your phone, you close your laptop, and just walk across the room. Better yet, go outside just for 5, 10 minutes. When my mind, like I've been stuck, working, feeling down, feeling low energy, maybe even borderline depressed, I often would force myself to do just get up, to start doing jumping jacks, to start stretching, do push-ups. The goal again to shake things up, make your body move. Because once your body start moving, your energy, your blood start floating. This is the best way to change your state of mind. And my building has a swimming pool. When the pool used to be open, I literally would jump into the pool, just force myself jump into the pool, because once you do that, it clears up your head. And some of you, I bet some of you might, tell yourself this, that like, I have so much to do. I can't pull myself away. I don't have time. And what I'm telling you right now is that the truth is that there's always time. If you care for your mental health and overall your well-being, you will invest time for yourself. If you put your mental health, I'm going to repeat this. We always have time. We can always prioritize our time. Deadlines, memes, TV shows, snaps, TikToks, Instagrams, they are and will always be there. Your sanity and health might not. And also based on just my experience in just shake things up, I noticed that by just taking those little short breaks, my overall productivity has gone up. So think of your life right now, your lifestyle right now, taking care of your mental health as running a marathon, not sprinting. So remember to just shake things up, try to change your state of mind. And last is what I call socialization. To understand the difference between distancing and isolation. Understand the difference between physical distance versus social distance. So now things have opened up a little bit more. I would say call up, schedule a time with your friend, with family, for a phone conversation with coffee. That you haven't, people that you haven't talked with, see for a while, will lost touch. Addison, please do follow the safety precaution. Please do that. And service to others. Again, I'm going to repeat myself. I mentioned this earlier. Ask yourself, who can you check in with? Who can you help? Who can you check in? For example, my neighbors and I, we since COVID time, we have been going to grocery store, offering to buy grocery for the older neighbors in my building. And I noticed that this has definitely helped me to transform, because literally it forces me to go outside. And because when you start caring for others, oftentimes it helps you, again, get yourself out of your own head. And it's one of the most best way and tool to fight off isolation and depression. So now I'm going to put you all again into our breakout. Oh, this is a picture. So as you can tell, I love puppies. I love dogs. So this is the last breakout room that we will going to be in. And I want you to share with each other, that what can you do? What can you do to transform your feelings and grief or frustration? You can feel free to use the examples that I gave you earlier, daily gratitude. You are what you focus on, change your state of mind with socialization, or share something that you have used before. Normally, I do a whole 2-hour training workshop on that. But ultimately, I think what you're talking is about lifestyle. How can you develop a lifestyle that you have enough healthy routines throughout your day? I'm talking about per day, not talking about throughout the day that can sustain your mental health. And yes, there are ways to do. So for example, like using one simple, my life, of course, I'm way older than you all. I'm old. And
I'm older.
so I'm very fortunate that last 10 years, I am able to build a lifestyle, a daily routine that helped me to sustain that. As simple as every morning I wake up, the first 45 minutes, that is almost exactly the same. They consist of light stretching, meditation, drinking my smoothie, gratitude practice. And then my morning work, my lunch around noon, I go on walks no matter what the weather, unless it's blizzarding, I go on walk for a mile or two. In afternoon, evening, I have my these little routines. I'm not talking about big things. I'm just talking about 5, 10 minutes per day interject throughout my day to keep my depression at bay so I can focus on my work. And it does take some time to figure out. So I encourage, so this is an amazing question because I encourage you all right now, take next couple minutes after we finish to really reflect on your lifestyle and what are the little things that you can incorporate into your life that it can enhance your life. There's also the biological factor too. Our body throughout the day goes through different cycles. Have you noticed after lunch for majority of people, we feel tired? Whether you eat or not, because we do have there's a lot of research study on that. And in science, I believe science real, science real. So I will encourage you all to read those books, research to see how your body goes. You have to do a temperature. Does that make sense? So I couldn't go into way more detail because of the time. So, and these are just little things that I am constantly transforming my negative feeling into positivity. I'm not denying them. I'm not trying to pretend everything's happy, everything's kosher. That is called toxic positivity. No, I recognize what's going on. I embrace it, try to find different ways, develop new healthy habits, and just keep going. So cool. So, all right then. Any other questions before I share the last tool, pretty much the last thing that I will share with you all? We good? Awesome. So, the last thing I want to share is okay, is be patient with yourself. And maybe because also part of our Asian cultural programming, we are particularly really hard on ourselves. We are very highly critical of ourselves. And also due to our cultural instant gratification and speed, we want the pain and discomfort to be over ASAP. And in reality, it takes time for our mind and body and emotion to readjust and heal. The key thing is that we will readjust. We humans are really good at adapting, learning new habits. And again, I'm focusing on that. Is that all of you are relative, like compared to me, are still very young. And think of what are the healthy habits that you can develop, that you can practice, that can take you into way into your 20s and 30s. So when you are like an old fart like me, you don't have to worry about all these old habits. One simple example is that your relationship with your phone. How can you develop something, a habit that you can have better relationship with your phone, healthier relationship with your phone. And the next thing I want to emphasize that like it's totally okay if you're still unsure what's going on. It's okay. And it's totally okay if you don't know what to do yet. Because most people are probably as confused and as lost as you. No, even the people that are in charge, including myself. You think that I have all the answers? No, I don't. I'm just using these tools to continue to motivate myself keep myself moving. I'm just constantly learning, building new habits, improving my daily routines, my hourly routines to find ways to improve myself. So it is a process. It's a process. Be persistent. This is the key. Be persistent. If you mean it, if you really want to improve your mental health, be at it, keep at it, don't give up. Because in a blink of eye, this whole thing will be over. This whole thing will be over. It takes time to change. So please remember, be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. So, so this concludes the 5 essential tools. So any questions for me? Yeah, we are in like a little Q&A.
I did thank you, JR. I want to say we'll send out an evaluation and also the PowerPoint slide. We'll put it on YouTube because I know there's several people who couldn't attend who wanted to know more about the 5 essential tips. But again, thank you so much, JR, for your time. And thank you all for spending your Thursday with us for this session. And I hope you took some nuggets away to really help with how to cope with some of the frustrations that we may have, the fears that we may have. I want to hand it over to our president of CASL, Kathy. She has a tradition that she likes us all to do every time. So, Kathy.
Mental health, like it's something very important that we all need to face and really, endure. And especially through this pandemic, right? Like we're all going through this together in our own unique ways. But yeah, feel free to reach out. He just put his information on the slide there. There will be an eval information form for you guys to fill out. Our secretary will send out an email of the recording of JR's PowerPoint and the eval forms for you guys to all fill out, so then you guys can look at it in the future. But one last thing I'd like to do at the end of every meeting, as we are virtual, if everyone could, if you're comfortable with it, I'd like to take a group picture of all of us here at the meeting today with JR.
Sure.
Okay.
JR, if you could stop your screen share, we'll get the gallery.
Sure. Yes. All right. Let me stop.
Okay. I'll do a quick countdown. All right, everyone smile.
I want to say thank you to our sponsor, Kim Choi from the CACFC.